Hello everyone, welcome back to a new Harstem hour. Today we're going to be having a look at a robotics facility opener and the playstyle following it up. So basically it's going to be going in depth in the current PvT, or the current PvT build that I like a lot, and the follow-up into the more standard mid-late game. I'm not going to go too in-depth into the build order, as tomorrow there will be a supply challenge with this build order specifically. So look out for that. First we're going to be going over just the major concepts, how I want to be using my units in the early game, how I want to be moving my units in the early game, how I want to respond to different things. Yeah, that's basically it. And then we'll go into like a mid game, and perhaps I'll show a second or even a third replay, so you guys can see my opener against different Terran openers. So I played a couple of games with it today, 5-6. So should be fine. So whenever you get your first adept out and there's no Reaper on your side of the map, you usually can just go across the map. So my opponent played gas first, Reaper into reactor with a proxy barracks for, I guess this is gonna be Marauder. I know it's gonna be Marauder. I played this game like 2 hours ago. It's not that relevant. Our goal is going to be to get 2 adepts. This music's annoying me. To get 2 adepts. And a stalker out of this gateway and get a robo, basically. That's just gonna be it. So we're just poking and prodding with our 2 adepts. It's very important that you don't lose them. Neither of those adepts should be lost, just like I never do. It's more important to not lose them than it is to kill like a Reaper, or to kill a Reaper and a Marine, as it really helps against mine drops to have 1 or 2 extra units. So you can maybe one-shot mines, or you can more easily kill medevacs, just stuff like that. It's kind of a big deal. So after our, actually usually after adept, I built my first gateway, and then after my stalker I built my extra other gateway. This time I went adept, stalker, and then 2 gateways at the same time. Means your first warp-in is just going to be a single unit, and your second warp-in is going to be 3 units. So I was on the map just microing my little heart out. And then a Marauder shows up. I think I lose this stalker to something as well. Yeah, lose the stalker. Now in this case, obviously, it's an aggressive opening from him. So I just warp in 3 stalkers. I even pro pool, which I don't think is completely necessary, but you know, nice enough. And because you have so many gateways and it's done so fast, you can just warp in more units. In this case, I get a sentry, so in case he decides to walk through, I can just force field him in. Not really necessary though. I could have also just gotten a stalker. If you really feel in danger, you can build a battery here. The third base I always build, I kind of forgot to mention that, before gas 3 and 4, and usually after I do my first warp in. So in this case that was that single unit, then a Nexus. Now you see I have 2 pylons here, which will cover this airspace, or this general space, in case there's a drop coming to me. Then you have 1 observer over here, and 1 observer going to the other side. Usually I get a 3rd observer, which I'll put over here, or you can put it over here, and you can put like an adept here or something like that. That way you have good vision on your side of the map against any type of air units. Now double gases. I'm gonna make a robo bay as well. Usually I want to get the robo bay down around like 420, but because I had to build a lot of stalkers, it was a little bit later. So good opener, even though it was completely unscouted. This is kind of the beauty of this build order, or at least I find it the beauty of this build order, that you're almost never gonna die, because you have such quick gateways, you have good vision of the map, and you have just a very high gateway unit count very, very quickly. So it's difficult to die. As long as you don't lose your first observer, you're never really gonna take too much damage from harass either. There is a certain downsides of it, which are it's difficult to catch harass because you don't have blink, and Raven mine builds can be a little tricky to deal with every now and then. Does he have an armory? No. Okay. So he's just gonna try to go into my main base now. You see I split up my units. With the vision I had, I could easily see him coming. I'm a little slow in the response, so I think I'm gonna end up losing a couple of probes here, but I killed this one, or at least denied from going in, and it's not the end of the roll. One thing that I do want to pay attention to, or want you guys to pay attention to, is that not only in my supply block, but I also don't tend to chrono the workers that are gonna go towards my 3rd base. So after I get like 46, 40, for 45 workers. I don't chrono boost workers anymore. I keep producing, but I don't chrono boost. I put all my chrono boost in upgrades, whether that's or colossi. So colossi, +1 or blink. Sometimes maybe in thermal lens, but only if you think you're about to have a massive fight and you don't quite have it yet. I'd never waste it on thermal lens just automatically like you do on forges. You know, I just burn it on forges and robos whenever I can, but I wouldn't do that on a robotics bay because the upgrade just isn't that long, and honestly it's not that big of a deal at the start when you're having these small fights. Most of the time just having a colossi is good enough to deter your opponent. You're fighting near batteries, so all should be good. Now your setup in the mid game or going into the mid game should be something like this. So we're going to be going up to 5-6 gates, maybe 7 or 8. We want to get up to 3 colossi and then get a 4th base going. And on top of that, we're going to have good vision on the minimap. So you see, observer, observer. I have a probe out in the middle. I build a pylon here and I build a pylon here. So I have good vision around my bases. I keep a couple of stalkers in the main because it's difficult to react. And I try to stay around batteries with my colossi army. Okay, that's pretty much going to be the main goal here for him while I'm going up to these extra gateways. And there's 2 ways you can play this. You can either go armor and charge and then try to go for like, usually I don't take gases on my 3rd base in that case. I can show you a replay of that after. Or what you can do is you can play blink and then you just go 6 gas. It usually delays your 4th base a little bit and your aggressive option isn't quite as good. And your counterattack isn't as good. And it's worse against tanks, this is. But I like this for safety a lot of the time. If you think you're going to be playing a very, very passive game and you want to take it to the late game, I like blink. It's good. It's good to have. You can always, of course, get charge after. Just like if you open charge, you can always get blink after. But the first Twilight upgrade is a big one with this builder as well. So you see everything is kind of finishing up. I got myself a 4th base because I saw, hey, like, I didn't see anything yet. I think I know that he has a 3rd though. I saw it somehow. Or I swear to Christ, guys. I swear to God. I know it. So in this case, it actually would, like, if I had charge here, I would have just been able to completely blast this. You know, I had an Archon here as well, but in this case I went blink. And that's okay as well. Now, once we establish or once we start our 4th base, I like to get a 2nd forge. And once you're about to finish your 3rd colossi, I like to get a 2nd robo. I don't think I quite do it this game, the 2nd robo that fast, but I definitely do suggest that. And then after your 3rd colossus and your prism, what I like to do is I like to get prism speed. So you can usually what I do is I try to move across the map with my army once I have 3 colossi, because the Viking count is going to be low. You see, only 2 Vikings, so perhaps I can do something. Of course, whenever you move across the map, always make sure that there's no base trades ready. So this drop kind of needs to be off the map. That's why I'm staying at home right now, because I don't have good enough map vision to really attack at this point. Dark Shrine Robo. Usually the rule for me is once my 4th base finishes, I get a Dark Shrine. You continue upgrading from 2 buildings. I should have had more gateways. I only have 6. I'd like to be up to 8, maybe even 10 at this point. Here comes some vision for me. And once I get vision and I know that his army is at home, or I just have vision around the map and I know it's going to be hard for him to base trade, I really don't mind going for a cheeky attack. A lot of the time. No, I do have my prism with the guys in there. So you can always just fly by. If there's 1 turret, you can fly by it. If there's 2 turrets, you can't. If there's a turret and a Viking, you can't either. Honestly, most of the time I just kind of queue it in and hope that there isn't enough stuff. So you can do the same thing, or you can actually micro it like an absolute tryhard. But this is me, guys. This is me. And I'm just gonna... Oh, I actually send it in here. Well, yeah. If there's a bunker, a Viking, and a turret, that usually also is a loss. So... Don't go in there in that case. Now, after 3 Colossus, by the way, with your 2 Robos, you're going to keep producing Disruptors. And with your Dark Shrine, you're going to get Blink. And then your goal is to get like a Blink Stalker, Disruptor, Colossus army on the one side, and a DT army on the other. And you're just going to keep trying. Usually what I do first is I send in 1 DT for each base. So exactly what I'm doing right here. It's like the initial harass. It's like the warning, hey, I have DTs. And you're usually going to kill like a couple of workers, or you walk some circles in his third base for whatever reason. But yeah, here I mean I get a bunch of workers, 11 worker kills, 15 worker kills. That's nice, obviously. Doesn't cost too much because you're on 4 bases. I like to take a 5th base while I do this move. And then you can kind of establish map control once you have DTs, most of the time. And your DT blink finishes. And basically your goal is going to be attacking planetaries with your DTs. You blink on top of them, 9 to 10 DTs. You right click them and then you run away. That's all you're going to be doing with your DTs. While you're fighting with your main army, or well, not even fighting, usually you're just poking, right? Usually they have a setup, maybe they have tanks, maybe they have liberators. You're just using your disruptors. You don't actually want one big fight. What you want is this. You want to be running away and him to chase you. So you force a stim, throw 2 disruptor balls, you hope you hit something, then you piss off. Then you go again once some of them are off cooldown. So basically you're not really losing very much, and he should be losing stuff. So that's an interesting blink in, and then disruptor. And this disruptor is just being used as a zoning tool to guarantee me a safe retreat, basically. You see that? It's not really... The moment I throw a disruptor ball, majority of the time, I go like, I guess it's time for me to go back. We don't have any DTs on the other side yet, which is a mistake. We have a lot of money. We definitely could afford it. So it's not so nice. Not so nice indeed. Get some... I mean, this observer is golden for us at this point, right? It's seeing so much of the map. I mean, he has sensor tower hack, but still doesn't seem good enough for him. Then you just blink in, and now I will start. You see, I just sent one out in case he's following me. If he's not, that's okay. I have 6-7 disruptors. I have plenty. You don't want to get much more than 6-7 disruptors, so that's pretty much the max. I'm a bit disappointed that my DTs aren't on the map yet. That definitely should have happened already. And then you're just gonna keep making these rotations again and again and again and again, and try to make sure that none of the outside bases within the area that you have contained are taken. So I kind of have this area contained, right? He can't really go out on the map. So this base should have never been taken. I should have had a stalker on this spot. I should either have a pylon or a zealot here as well. Like, it's just not allowed. So I warp in a bunch of DTs. Now this is a cool move that I do. So I see, hey, this is still turning into a planetary. So then I go back. I want it to be a planetary, so it can't lift up anymore. That'd be a waste. You just cancel it and then lift up. I don't want that. So I wait till the planetary is there while I keep rotating with my main army. Keep getting upgrades. Then I blink in and bang. Just like that. I get it. Okay, it's 9 DTs. It's like... It goes real fast. 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess if you have 10 DTs, you only need 3 hits. Maybe with +3, it's also a 3. I don't know. Never really did the math on the planetary DT. Perhaps I should. I didn't even hear there was a nuke, honestly. I love the fake nuke though, it's so good. Usually if you play against the TOS, then you need to check all your bases. But because I wasn't paying attention, probably was listening to music or making a lame joke, I didn't hear it. Nice. So this was not a great fight, obviously. I kind of got caught out of position, and that's the problem you have with disruptors. If you're not ready for a fight, so if you're not paying attention and you're not zoning him out, once you actually start fighting, your army kind of sucks. Like, you need to zone him, and then with your main army, like here, I should have realized what's happening. I should have zoned one here, one down there as well, and I should have been throwing more into this area, because now it's too late, and he's kind of through the choke. I still get a decent trade. It's not the greatest trade, but I lose a lot of my disruptors, which isn't very nice. No. Once again, same trick over here. Blink in. Not the world's most brilliant blink, but I mean, I get the base. Then at home, you're just defending with your Stalker Colossi. You add more disruptors again, or you lose them into Marauders. That's kind of the plan you have for the mid game. I think the rest of the game is not that interesting. I'm up 50 supply. He's gonna chill over here with a bunch of lips. I send Void Rays, and then eventually I kind of win the game. I think it gets a little too close for my taste. Well, I'm not even sure about that. It doesn't matter. Anyway, this is the start of the thing that we have. So if it's a relatively standard game, or well, he opens with a proxy marauder, that's not very standard. But you have very good options both against standard and against aggressive Terrans because you have so many gateways. And then this is kind of the mid and late game you want to go into. So let's hop into the next replay and I'll see you guys there, hopefully. Well, not hopefully, you guys are going to be there. All right, here we have a build where Clem builds a wall. And I pretend that it was a wall because otherwise, you know, it's no fun. So he built a wall and then you're locked out. You can't really get any scout. Now, a lot of people always wonder, what are you supposed to do against that? What I like to do is I like to get just my robo, fast second gate, and then 1 chrono on warp gate. Pretty standard, and a faster battery. I scouted a bit around the map as well. I saw early marine, so wasn't quite sure what to expect. Then I see this command center. I'm pretty happy with that. You know, I can live with myself here. You want to have a battery ready at around 3:30. You want to be able to full wall this if it's necessary. And then what you do is you move your stalkers and all your gate units. You move them into the main base. Ideally, you have a pylon here as well, just making sure that no medevac can come from here. The most common threats here are either mine drop, 3 mine drop, or it is a 3 Hellion drop or 3 Hellion run by. So what you need to do is you need to ensure that he can only attack you at one location, because you simply have 2 little units to defend both. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna full wall this with a core, a cyber core. It builds the fastest. It is 150 minerals and it's 3x3. Not sure what this guy was about to do, but that was some high idiot place. And then you keep your units somewhere over here while having good vision of your main. So if he drops over here, you can walk there. If he tries to drop into your natural, you can go over there. Then you just target on the medevac. You have your full wall. If it was the other way around, same thing would have happened. Probably would have tried to save the medevac a bit harder. And then you kind of hold it. Once again, you take the 3rd base. We have here with our observer some vision, and here I want to talk to you guys about some things. So if we see this, take note of what there is and what there isn't. Well, what there is very obvious. There is a starport, there is a factory, and there is a barracks, right? It's 3 buildings. What there isn't is there's no 3rd CC, or at least we're not aware. If there is, it could be on location, but unlikely. And we're not seeing any extra barracks yet. As long as we're not seeing any extra barracks being added for the Terran, what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep getting more probes, not necessarily chrono boosted, but we are also gonna keep warping in. And we're gonna delay our minor tech buildings like a Forge, like a Twilight. We're still gonna get a robo bay, or at least we should be getting a robo bay. There we go, man. I love it when I do things that I say. I get the robo bay. In this case, I'm on the map with my stalkers because I know he can't have stim, right? So there's nothing he can really catch me with. So I just send 4 or 5 stalkers across the map. I make sure I have enough stalkers at home to deal with any type of harass, whether that's the Liberator or the Hellions. And then what you want to do is you're just going to keep warping them in again and again and again until you see barracks being built. The moment the barracks are being built, usually is the time they move out. And it's also the time where they're not going to keep adding more units, because then all of a sudden they're going to swap these barracks with these tech labs over here and they're going to start building stim and combat. Okay? And at that point, you start adding your tech, your Forge, your Twilight, that kind of stuff. Now, another thing you kind of want against this type of play, which I didn't have, is a battery over here. It's always very, very helpful, of course, the super battery. I think I get one now, but it's a little late. I'm not quite sure why I got a disruptor here. I watched back the replay and I was like, man, I'm a complete idiot. But that's okay. At least I'm very tall. And then what you can do, because he has nothing, you can just kind of meet him on the map. And you can just kite back against the Marines, or if you don't feel very comfortable in your micro, or you didn't know it was coming, you can just fight at your battery. I'm gonna do a mix of both here. I'm gonna both fight at my battery and micro poorly. So if I can do it, you guys can do it as well. I didn't even realize there still was a tank here until I watched just now. That's fantastic. Then once again, we're gonna go into the same type of mid game. So you see, I'm adding gateways. Gonna be going up to 3 plus 3, 6. Going up to 6 gateways. I kind of want that to be 8. And I'm gonna add, I think in this case, a fast second Forge, because I feel like I have a lot of money and a lot of time as well. So I'm just preparing for a very, like a longer game basically, because I'm so far ahead. It's good to, whenever you're very far ahead, or you feel far ahead, it's good to get advantages in many areas. So imagine you're ahead in eco. It's nice to try and get ahead in, for example, map vision, or it's nice to get ahead in upgrades or in tech as well, because you have this one advantage already, and usually over time, the advantage that you already have kind of diminishes, especially if an economical or an army advantage. So try to turn that into different advantages. So that's why I'm getting the fast second forge. I'm probably going to get a fast fourth to try and keep to that. And then I'm going to try to put some pressure on him with the goal of him having to lift this base, basically. So you see, I took my things. I actually built extra gateways. I'm so good at this game. We have 8 right now, don't we? Yes, 8. I think there's even 9 on the way. 10. Man, I'm so happy with myself. Templar Archives. I actually made a mistake of getting plus attack rather than armor. I'm not a massive fan of that. Even though against this army it seems to be fine. Because armor is especially great against marines. And yes, very little marines in his army. 12 marauders, 3 tanks. So maybe attack actually isn't that bad here. Now, the way you want to be attacking into Terran players is really just kind of A-move into them with charge lot Archons and your Colossi. Try to get the Colossi to target the Marines. Try for your Zealots to go for the tanks. And make sure that the tanks don't splash on your Colossi. So always try to split your Colossi a little bit. Once they're getting attacked, you'll see me attempt it here, you see? So the splash can't hit all the Colossi at the same time. Now, this wasn't the most brilliant initial attack. But what it does allow me, if I get this tank, is that all of a sudden this area isn't safe anymore. Like, I can go here with Colossi, I can attack the CC, or if I'm very smart, I can even right-click the SCVs, which is obviously a top play, which is what I'm going to be doing here. Now you see, my upgrades are still going. This is what I was talking about. His upgrades, well, should also still be going. I don't think he has an armory yet. Oh, he does have an armory. Probably investing in other things. See, I'm just kind of standing at a distance. I'm using my advantage. But behind this, I'm still going for my regular plan. Actually, I'm building a Fort Colossi. Usually I wouldn't do that. I only do that if I feel like I can really finish the game and there's not enough Vikings. Usually, at this point, second robo, Dark Shrine, Chrono Boost on these buildings, on the forges. So we have a lot of Chrono Boost left over. I'd probably even take a 5th base at this point, if I were myself. But I wasn't myself here. Then kind of push him away and just like that, see? Solid opener, and we push our advantage in something else. So now we've seen one aggressive game, or one game where we had to, we got a lead. We've seen one very passive game as well. I mean, what more do you guys want to see? Probably a game where I get behind. But the thing is, I don't get behind because I'm so safe with this build. Lots of units, lots of things. Yeah, it's really quite a cool build. And if you're very tight at it, it's actually quite difficult to lose. You can make a decent amount of errors as well. And yeah, I'm actually very happy with this current playstyle. You see me absolutely destroy my teammate. Look at this. This is destruction, guys. It's very satisfying to watch myself win games. I should do this more often. Just go over replays that I already know I won. But yeah, you just fight a bit, blah blah blah. 5th base on the way, and GG. Just like that. Nice. Alright, so just to go over everything real fast. 3 gates. We get our nexus. We scout with the first observer. Observer 2 and 3 we put around our base. If we don't see barracks being built, we keep producing units. Try to keep your units in position. With pylons at your 3rd, always make sure that you can see everything that's coming from that direction, and observer should spot the rest. Batteries, in case you're being 1-1-1 all-in. And don't chrono boost the probes that go towards your 3rd base. Just put the chronos on something else. Very nice. Nice. Alright. That's going to be it for today. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to subscribe over there. And if you didn't enjoy it, you also subscribe over there. Because there's really only one place where you can subscribe. So go do that right now. Don't forget to smash a like, leave a comment down below, and see you all next time.